Unfortunately, mental health is one of the largest issues facing the U.S. military. The problem is, many service members avoid seeking help out of fear that a diagnosis would jeopardize their career. Not to mention the fact that there often aren't enough providers to meet the need for counseling across the force. Well, our guest today, Josh Otero, is building a mental health trained AI chatbot to try and fix those problems. Through starting a veterans community around esports and gaming, along with several other endeavors, Josh has dedicated his life to health and wellness with the goal of helping veterans lead fulfilling, connected lives beyond their service. So let's jump into this conversation with Josh Otero. Most people you talk to when transitioning out of the military have never actually transitioned out themselves. You're probably getting a bunch of opinions from people who plan on staying in until retirement and have no idea how to actually show empathy for your situation. This podcast is about providing fresh perspectives and a front row seat for conversations with successful veterans doing big things after leaving the military.
Hey
Hey,
Josh, how are
Josh.
you?
How you guys doing?
Good, good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. I think I told you I just finished up one episode and now I got another one.
Yeah, what were you on before this?
The podcast called
Joe Rogan?
Please. It was, I don't know if you know Michael Anders. He was a Marine. It's a podcast on like leadership and development. So he and I actually I met him 6 months after he got out of the Marines, like in 2012. And so we've been friends, but this is the first time I've been on his podcast and and he's had it for a long time. He's like, why aren't you been on? I'm like, I don't know. So I was on it today.
You tell
Oh,
me.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
So
awesome.
you said Joe Rogan's tomorrow?
Yeah. I wish. We were talking about that. We were talking about fundraising. I'm like, if I got a Joe Rogan podcast, I think we'd be set for some time. We were talking about his most recent one with Elon and how Elon was talking about gaming and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Elon. So
Yeah, buckle up for 4 hours of unadulterated
I know
conversations.
that's the problem. It's so long. But if I was on his, I would make the time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Trump could make the time. I can make the time.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well,
specifically Elon, dude. He's got everything on his plate. It's like, does that guy have more hours than we do?
He's we say like he's in like an anomaly. Like, there's one in like a billion or 1 in 7 billion in this case. Like he is that person. I know Jeff Bezos and others try to be that, but they're not. How many people have started multiple $100 billion companies? Zero besides him, like one.
Right.
well, I
Yeah,
think
I saw this guy on social media just like trashing Elon and like really like looking at everything he's done through a negative lens. And I'm like, it's just you can't keep saying like he's proven it over and over again. The guy's a genius. Like, you
And
know,
his benefit to society, like what have you done for society? Like
right.
he's changed billions of lives. Like what have you done? Like, and you're talking, yeah, there's a podcast that I really like. Well, I like him, but he doesn't like Elon and so I have to like skip it forward when he starts talking about Elon. I'm like, I can't listen to you talk negatively about Elon.
well, the coolest thing about Elon is that part of Neuralink, he figured out how to increase the number of hours in a day. So he just has that.
Yeah. Yeah. He just
He can
implanted
actually
that in
turn back
himself.
time
Yeah.
like in Harry
Yeah.
Potter, and you just redo
Yeah.
redo the days.
Yep.
Exactly. It's a
How
hack,
can it be
man.
more efficient? Beep. And then you're going to get 30 hours today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, but also about what you're doing now that could benefit transitioning service members and what they're doing.
So first I never served. Well, that was the big thing with having me on versus normal. Cause I know everybody else you have is a veteran. So I never served. So the way I serve is through my foundation.
Nice.
So, but I could talk about the story because I've talked to thousands of people. So I know I'm as familiar with transitioning from service. And that's kind of one of the things that we serve is, whether you're a service member, you're preparing to transition or you're transitioned already. So I'm very familiar, probably more than most, even if you have. So I could kind of give a little bit about the background on why I started the foundation and then
yeah.
kind of transitions that I've had because I've made, significant transitions. So I started in the financial services business. And so it's, you're suit and tying every day, corporate, and got divorced in 2010, somewhere around there, 2009, and decided I had a life change. So I actually quit and opened up a CrossFit gym and talk about complete difference, like we're talking culture shock, right? Transitioning, we we say like transition, you go from the A team to the C team, right? You're A part of a unit, especially if you're in a specialized unit, and then C civilian where nobody cares about you, or A, everybody's, let's drive 500 miles to support you, and C, nobody gives a, nobody cares. It was a big eye opener, shock, in that, the support and the level of things that I had just in doing that, leaving the corporate world to do that was a big transition. But then in 2020, I had a startup in the sports nutrition space, and we were working in the gaming and esports area. Noticed a big spike in social isolation, depression, loneliness, and ultimately leading to suicide in the veteran community. In my community that I was working in, but specifically in the veteran community, and in some of there was two people that were two cadets at Air Force Academy that killed themselves in 1 month. It was February. And then there were 6 people that were on a ship in Virginia Beach that were stuck on there because, when you were somewhere, they just kept you there, right? And so there were 6 people in like a month, maybe it was 2 months, but it was a very short amount of time that committed suicide. And I'm like, okay, I got to do something, because this is not, nobody's doing anything, and they're isolating everybody, and they're just, it's not this, what you're doing is having the opposite effect. So started the Warrior Gamer Foundation with the mission to promote health, wellness, and communityship through gaming, and specifically in the military and veteran community. And now we serve mostly veteran, but we're active in the transitioning as well, but a lot of the veteran community. So that's kind of the origin story of kind of how we got started, and why we got started. Just this need, this mass suicide, and there's still 22 a day, and we're trying to impact that. But over COVID, it was astronomical. I don't know what the stats were, but it was all over. You couldn't turn a page in the newspaper without seeing somebody committing suicide.
Josh, can you speak to someone who might be thinking naively that, gaming is more of an individual, it's kind of an isolation thing in itself, but yet how is that actually a mental health boost? How does that connect people, build community? And how do you guys go about that problem, solving that problem through gaming, something that some people might construe to be isolating?
No, that's a great question, because, you think about like, and I'm not a gamer. I've never gamed, nor am I a vet. So I have 2 things that I do that I do neither. So I come from the physical sports space, right? So I did traditional sports. I never gamed, but I saw those, the community that needed it, and a tool to be able to solve that need. And so that's why I did this, So the reason why gaming is such a powerful tool is because, you envision a person eating popcorn in their mom's basement and not working and playing 12 hours a day, right? That was my vision initially before I understood it. In reality, and it can be that, right, if it's done unhealthily, but in reality, if it's done properly, gaming is a tool to connect others. So there's different types of games. So the games that mostly we play are community games. So you're more than one person. So you're playing on a team or against other people. So you're part of something, and you're competing for something. So what does gaming do? So what does gaming alone do? Gaming alone takes you away from where you're at. You're 2 months stateside, just got divorced. No, you separated from service, and you don't have a network yet. You're home alone. You've been drinking. You get into a dark space. It could go, one of 2 ways. You start gaming. The game is going to take you out of whatever reality you're in and put you in a new reality. And so you get involved, and especially, it depends on the game, but some of these games, they really get you engaged, and you want to compete and win. And this is what Elon was talking about. You get into it. And so if I'm into something, I'm not thinking about what's over here. So, gaming without even the community that we spend most of our time building, gaming alone can take you to a different universe, take you to a different reality. Your reality in the real world might be really bad at this very second, but by putting yourself into this, it gets you involved, it gets you part of something, and then you're playing and you're thinking about this one thing because I want to win, and I'm not thinking about all of this. So, and at a real high level, what gaming does is it gives you a place to be and to feel safe and to be a part of something. Then we take it another step further and add that community element to it, because if you have a sense of community and a sense of purpose, you're much less likely to take your own life. And so what the foundation does is we give you a place to play. So we have a Discord community of 2,600 people. And what our Discord community does is it gives you that safe space to be able to talk communicate. If you want to play games, you can play games. We've got 48 different channels in there. We do resume writing. We do transition assistance. We do mindset. Miss Mindset comes on every other Tuesday. So we offer all these different services. So if you're new, you've never written a check, you've never done a lot. If you've joined when you're 17 and a half and you've been there for 15 years, you've never done a lot of basic things. So by being a part of our community, we're giving you a lot of those tools, and you're getting used to what it's like to be a civilian. And so we give you that place to be. It's that kind of that there's your service, you're out of service. What's this, transition assistance program or something, so we have 90 days that we have to take. This gives you that bridge where you could do it for 10 years. Like, you could stay in our community ideally for 10 years. Like, so it gives you you go from an A to a C, as I mentioned earlier. You could go from an A to an A, right? You're part of a unit here. You can be a part of a unit with us. And so we want to be that community where you go to for safety, to feel a part of something, and then give you a mission. Like, you're playing, you're leading others, you're mentoring. And, right after this, we're hosting a monthly town hall session where we talk about the different initiatives. But so that's what our Discord community does. And I could get into, we do in-person events too, but just to answer your question, it's gaming gives you something to take your mind off. The community gives you something to feel a part of. Then you're going to be less likely, if you're in that spot where, like I said, you got the voice, like all these things that are your downward spiral, gives you something to look forward to. Because then you make your friends in our community. We have lounges, so you could talk there, and we could do voice chat in there too. Because Discord, you could do pretty much anything. So it gives you that ability to do that. So that's the reason why we use Discord, because you can't do that on Facebook. There's no other mechanism that I know. And I'm sure that I know WeChat or, in China, but I don't want anything to do with them. So, in the US, that's, from what I know, that's the vehicle that we have.
What sort of platforms do you guys mainly focus on?
So we're agnostic. So, we do console gaming, PC gaming, doesn't matter. Like, our most popular games that we do from an event standpoint is Rocket League, which is what we're doing this weekend. We've got a all military Rocket League, all DoD Rocket League tournament. We have a college division and a youth division. We do Valorant. We just did a mental health and gaming summit, and we played Valorant, which I could get more into that. We have the secretary come to that. And then we do Smash Bros. It's probably the most popular game, especially with younger people. So Smash Bros. Is like a fighting game, and it's 1v1, and it's a lot of fun. And, we did it last year. We had Press Secretary Terrence Hayes come and fight Carmen, she's part of the Center for Minority Veterans, and they were on stage and they fought, and Carmen beat him, and it was a lot of fun. So that's a fun game. It's a fighting game. And so those are like in-person games, but then online, it varies. Like, there is no, we'll do Fortnite, Call of Duty. It varies.
I was thinking Super Mario Smash Brothers. That's my jam.
Yep. That's our most popular game.
I would smoke the secretary in that, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure you would. Yeah. It was a press secretary that I couldn't get McDonough to, he and I just sat and talked, but it was Terrence Hayes that played, and I would get smoked in that, but it's a fun game, and everybody, and if you're like in high school or college, there's, almost every single person plays it. So it's a great way to kind of connect the youth and the vets together.
The only thing is Griffin would have to play on the N64 to be good.
I was going to say either N64 or Wii, which is just horribly
the new platform, like, forget it.
So you mentioned high school. I mean, so it's the program. It's open to non-veterans too. Like, it's
only in person. We're actually implementing an ID.me system in our Discord. So we're trying to limit it to either active or veterans, and we don't allow kids because we have veterans in there. We don't have kids. So it's 18 or older, which if you're a veteran and you're not over 18, then there's probably an issue. So we're 18 and over, and we're going to be implementing an ID.me into our Discord. So at Discord, it's only veterans or service members. On our live events, we have everybody, because we try to build a community and connection, and encourage play and camaraderie.
Where have the live events been?
Mostly DC, like the one that we just did. So we just did a Warrior Gamer Mental Health and Gaming Summit in July in DC at Howard University. And that's when we had Secretary McDonough come, and he and I did a town hall, and he spoke. And then we're doing one this weekend in Syracuse University, which is in Syracuse, New York. We're doing a National Security Summit with General Otero. That's in Raleigh in May of next year. So mostly East Coast. We did an event in Atlanta, mostly East Coast. Our initial events were in Denver, but now we've kind of moved East Coast.
Anything great is probably happening in Raleigh, Jack, to answer your question. They call Raleigh the Oahu of the East Coast now.
Raleigh, there's a lot going on. We've got some other people that we're talking to that are very interested in coming out. So we've got actually the hacking games people flying out from Europe to come out and attend. So yeah, will be
Griffin will
all
have
over
his
the
chance
world.
to play Smash Brothers when because
Yeah.
he lives in Raleigh, and
Well,
he's
I
joking with
expect
me
you to
because
be
I
there.
live in Hawaii.
You better believe I'm not putting a single dime on any of that because, like I said, I don't think an N64 is going to be in attendance. So
You
A
could
lot of
bring one, but we'll be
confidence.
the
Don't
only
know if
one
you can
with
back
it.
it up.
Well, Josh, I'm curious. I know you recently launched the AI chat bot, or you guys are building that and working on that at this point. Can you talk about kind of what problem you saw that presented the need to develop that, and tell us a little bit more about the background there?
Yeah. So we've got a 24/7 peer support system in our Discord called Peer Connect. And what it is we've got 19 people, all volunteers that are trained through a partner company of ours to be able to basically talk to a veteran that's in crisis. And we've got 2 non-vets, one's a doctor and one he's looking to go into he's younger, he's like 22, he's looking to go into the military, but everybody else is a veteran. And they're just to talk to somebody and to, help talk you off a ledge. And we've had 123 people go through it, 100% success rate, knock on wood. And so from the mental health and gaming summit, which we did in July, a few things came out, like how can we scale that? And you can't scale 19 people. I only could talk to like one person at a time, right? If they're in crisis. And so I was trying to figure out how do we scale this problem, because it's a growing problem. There's a mental health crisis going on. And so I thought AI. And so what we built in the foundation was a platform called the VRSS, or Veteran Resilience Support System. And if you think of a pyramid, the base of the pyramid is built by AI, and the AI acts as a peer support. And I'll kind of get to that in a second. Tier 2 is what we currently have, which is our Peer Connect platform. And that's just person to person. We've already been running it for over a year. Tier 3 would be somebody that's in crisis. I've got a gun in my mouth and I need immediate assistance, like beyond. We don't do anything clinical. We don't touch clinical. So that would be like somebody that needs clinical. Although there's been 3 cases where we have helped somebody that's been in that type of situation. But once we started to grow VRSS, pretty much almost right away, I realized that the AI platform needed to be a for-profit because we're serving more than just the veteran community. And so what I did was I spun the AI bot out to be its own entity called Ilana.ai, which coincidentally is named after my daughter. And that is now a standalone company, for profit. And what's that is that Ilana's built to be a peer support and resilience advocate. So be able to talk to you. We're using neurolinguistic programming and Gen AI to be able to talk to you. We're using training data from the VA and other universities and cognitive behavioral therapy and another therapy type to understand communication, but specifically with veterans and military. And so what Ilana is going to be able to do is have a conversation with you and get to know you, and then be able to assist you as she notices gaps. So say you're talking with her and she notices your short coping skills. We're building these micro learning courses that are just 60-second chunks of information. The reason why they're 60 seconds is because that's the most retainable. Here's a 40-minute course, nobody's going to do it. 60-second chunk, everybody's going to do it because you look at TikTok. And so what we're doing with that is we're teaching you how to fish, not giving you a fish. And then you get a 1-page after action brief to basically give you the tools. And then Ilana will then work with you through those tools to then upscale you to level 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then every certain threshold, you'll get a badge. So then you've hit accomplishment, because we're trying to gamify it too, because we want people to be involved. But the whole idea is there's a loneliness crisis and there's a suicide epidemic. And if we could help you to feel more a part of something, less alone, and then give you the skills to work on what you need to, which most people, we know that, they don't want to go talk to a person. So it's easier for them to talk to something that's not judging them and that's not going to report them, especially if I'm active duty. And so that's what Ilana is meant to do. And right now in the DoD, there's a 2,500 to 1 deficiency of people in need versus mental health therapy or services available. So we want to be that gap to be able to serve that community and that unmet need, because there's so many people out there that, whether it's you're active and you're losing productivity, we want to make a more resilient warfighter. And Ilana could do that. And then post-service, we want to make a more healthy and, functioning veteran. And we can do that with Ilana. So that's kind of the need was there's a growing mental health crisis, and we've seen it exponentially grow over the last 4 years since COVID. There's not enough things being done directly to address it. And then there's this resiliency issue. And so Ilana is really built to fill that gap. And then both service in transition and post-service.
This is more anecdotal, but just in my last unit, I've been out for about 6 months, but my last unit and across island here in Hawaii, there was I heard that if you didn't like actually say that you were suicidal, you did not qualify for mental health, like care. And that just highlights the lack of care available to service members active duty. And it's even worse, I'm sure, for service members who have already transitioned out. So it's definitely a real thing, and it's awesome that you're doing that. How can people get involved if they are wanting to be on the helping side? And then can we I'll follow up with maybe how people can specific, directions and instructions on how to, we'll include it in the show notes and everything, but how can people get involved if they'd like to help?
Oh, well, first, thank you for that. So initially, getting a hold of me via my LinkedIn and then our website, because we're always looking for more volunteers, right? So our community runs on mostly volunteers. So the way to get involved would be in a specific community would be getting involved with our Discord community, being active in there. We're always looking to fill roles, right? Because we're expanding. So we always have roles. If you have social media experience or podcasting experience, or you bring some skill, we'd love to have you as a volunteer, or you just want to be in a community ambassador. We're always growing our community ambassadors. Or if you're just looking for a community to be a part of, our Discord server is that. So that would be one, is whether you want to help, join our Discord server and volunteer. C's is our development director. So he's in there. You talk to him. I mean, you could talk to me, but he's very active in there. And then if you want to just join our community and be a part of something, just join it. Let us know who you are. You pick your service, your branch of service, and then you just say, hey, my name's, and give us a little bit about what you did, how long you were in, where did you serve, and all that kind of stuff. And then what games do you play? Or if you're not a gamer, you just want to be a part of the community, let us know that. Second is if you want to, we're a nonprofit, so we always need money. So, if you want to donate, or if you have people that are interested in donating, or, know an org that might want to sponsor one of our events, we're always looking for donations or sponsors for our various events. And then if you want to be a part of Ilana, we're only selling to the DoD or the VA. We don't have individual, we're not selling direct to consumer. But if you want to, if you're interested in data or AI, or you want to just help the team out, we're always looking for that. Or if you have connections in the DoD or contract writing, because we're writing CBERs, and we want to get different government contracts, because that's how we're going to, be able to monetize it and grow. So if you're in the government and you have areas that we could potentially get some source of funding, we're into that. We need that as well. So either be a part of the community, volunteer in the community, financially donate, or have somebody that you might connect with. And then on the Ilana side, it was really, if you're into any of that data science, or if you got transcripts, if you're in one of those Peer Connect platforms, and we need a lot of data. We need 8,000 points of data to train Ilana. So if you have data, we'd love data. Or obviously connections in the government that could get us contracts. So those are like the two big things that we need with Ilana, is data and government contracts.
This is awesome stuff you're working on, Josh. I'm curious, and I could be out of my skis here asking this question, but I imagine, speaking to somebody who's in a crisis situation, empathy is one of the key ingredients. How do you infuse empathy in an AI chatbot? How do you introduce that into the mix through a non-person to person interaction?
So a great question. So one of the things that is really good about AI, especially new AI, and to be honest, like what we're building, you couldn't have done this a year ago because the technology didn't exist. There's probably 500 mental health chatbots, but they're like, how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? Oh, great. Good to hear. Great to hear, Josh. Is there anything I could, they're basic, like dummy, like there's no, like Ilana's actually going to understand and be able to empathize, like to your point, empathize. So it's with the training data. So the way to make an AI smart is by training data. And the more training data you have, the better. So there's two sources. You could use open like LLMs, like a chat GPT, but that's not, or that's not focused data. We're using specific data that's trained on the veteran or military community. So the reason why I say we need data is we need data that's been trained on the veteran or military community. So luckily we have a resource in the VA that's providing us with a lot of these peer support and actual conversations. So Ilana will learn based on conversations. So she'll learn what empathy is based on the data and the books that we put in her, but then she's also going to learn it by the transcripts and the conversations that have been had that we just feed into her. Because there's a lot of these conversations, they're anonymized, right? We don't want the person, we want their data. And so, hey, so we've got like the script on like what the VA uses, and then how do they talk and understand the person? That's how we teach. So Ilana learns empathy by understanding what people do and reading thousands of conversations, and then how that person empathizes with the other person on the line to be able to then talk them through whatever situation they're going through.
Is that a difficult hurdle to overcome, getting access to all that redacted or sterilized information? I imagine that's hard to get your hands on.
Yeah. We've had 3 levels of people that we have to go through. Now, the good news is we're the only one doing it, and there's a big need for this. So there's interest in what we're doing. So that's the only reason why we're able to get this, because otherwise we would just have to train it on open source data that, is not as reliable or specific. So luckily we've got a lot of connections, and they really, I do think that they see what we're doing and they're interested because they know there's a need. I mean, who doesn't know there's a mental health, 22 a day. I mean, that's all you need to say. And they're like, okay, there's a problem. So if we could be just a little piece of that solution, the people are more willing. So it's all about the data. Everything is about all about the data.
What is the long-term kind of outlook? I imagine, you mentioned expanding beyond military to first responders and all other kind of demographics. What is if you were to look 3 to 5 years down the road, or even 10 years, what is the long-term kind of bigger vision for this?
So with Ilana, it's to serve. So we're actually developing. So AWS funded us for our initial build. So we want to build on the AWS platform to serve the veteran community. So initially, it'll be to serve the veteran community and the DoD community, but then to serve the veteran working community through the organizations. Because like I said, we're not selling it directly to consumers, so it has to be given to their employees through companies. So we're working specifically with Amazon and AWS to be able to deploy it to their veterans, because they employ like 100,000 veterans, a lot. And so we have 100,000 that we could serve right there. Just if everybody, not that everybody, maybe 10% are going to use this, but that's 10,000 people. And then we go to Nike. So the idea is we'd start at one enterprise, which is AWS, and then expand Amazon, and then expand all of their providers and offer this as a service for them. So the ideally is, in 3 years, we have 1 million people that are on it, and we're serving 1 million people. And then ideally, then after, we would go to non-military. But we're just training Ilana really on military and active duty or veterans. And so right now it's focused on veterans in the military community. In 3 or 5 years, like you're talking about, there's a teen mental health crisis. So if we could go and serve teens, that would be like our next. First responders and teens would be like our next market. It's like there's a teen epidemic, especially with teen girls and with TikTok and all these things. It's like, oh, I don't look this X way. Well, everybody's doctored there. So it'd be the next phase would then be to serve the youth, because first of all, they would use it because they grew up on that, using that stuff. So it's a no brainer, and they need it because they need somebody to talk to and to make them understand certain things. And that's what Ilana can do. So that would be my 5 and 10 year goals, to be able to reach the youth. And then, ideally everybody, right? Because I'm 49, I could use it. So I don't want to just say only these people could use it. I would like everybody to use it and be a tool for people to improve their mental health and build resilience. And then we want to serve 100,000 people in the next 3 years with the foundation. So like I said, we've got 2,600 people in our Discord now. The goal would be to get to 100,000.
I think so. For me, I think the biggest thing that we can provide with this podcast is just trying to make sure that we're connecting people. So my next question, I guess, would just be, again, you mentioned Discord. I'm on Discord, but not everybody understands kind of how to get to that. So can you speak to, like, at the tactical level specifically, how people can actually join the Discord group and actually be involved at the user level?
Yep.
Discord is
So-
black web, right? Dark. It's deep dark web.
Dark. It's the crazy. It's the nethers of the nether regions of the web.
Right.
No, so Discord, and I didn't join Discord till like 2019, but you can get, so first, how do you get to our Discord? Our website, right? Front page, warriorgmrfoundation.org, front page, join our Discord. Click that. If you're not in Discord, you're going to have to sign up for it. It's an app, and just register, put your name and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people put their call sign, whatever that they won't put their name. My name is in there because I'm Josh, but most people put their call sign or the whatever gamer tag they have. And so you would click on our website, click on join Discord. If you don't have Discord, set up the Discord. You have to fill out, you have to, like I said, you're going to have to go on ID me to make sure that you're a vet. And then you tag the service that you were in, Navy, Army, whatever. And then you write a little something about yourself. You accept our rules, and then you join our Discord and you say hi. We have an introduction section. You say hi, and I'm new to Discord. I don't know what Discord is. Please help me. Somebody will jump on there and walk you through it, because Discord is if you've never used it, it can be really confusing. We have 48 channels in our server. So if you don't know it, it's very confusing, but we have an introduction. It says, introduce yourself. So go there. Hey, I'm Josh. I just retired out of the Navy. I don't know anything about Discord. Could somebody help me? You'll have 5 people go, like, within an hour, reach out to you. Hey, what do you need? Let me talk you through this. Here's, so yeah. So if you've never used it, go to our website, click join Discord, sign up, and then go to the introduction page where it says it's really introduce yourself. So you can't miss it, and put who you are, where you served, and a little bit about you, and that you're brand new to Discord and you'd like some help. And then somebody will take your hand, guide you through, and join you and welcome you to our community. And that's one of the good things that we have is it's all veterans, or 90% veterans, 10% active duty. And we've got a few people in there that are docs and stuff that are not vets, but most 99% are either active duty or vets. So somebody's going to be in there. It's a safe space. It's fun. If you're completely naive on the internet, they'll walk you through it. It's a very friendly and fun environment. And if you want to play or talk, there's almost always somebody in our lounges, other than like midday seems to be a lull, but at 2:00 in the morning, there's like 10 people in there. So a lot of these people are night owls. So it's a place for you to go feel safe, be a part of, and, join and give you that next, where do I go next? I was just, I served. I've never been a part of anything other than high school, military. I don't know anything. Well, join us. We'll help you, and we, like I said, we run workshops, careers, resume writing, personal branding, and mindset, and anything that you could think of. We try to do it.
Are a lot of the conversations happening in Discord, or is Discord just a scheduling to get to the next thing?
Nope. They all happen, not all, most happen in Discord.
Okay.
Yep. It's a very vibrant community, and we have lounges. So if us 3 wanted to just chill and hang out in a lounge and do video chat, we have lounges. We have 5 lounges or something. It's like Alpha Lounge, Bravo Lounge, Charlie Lounge, Warrior Lounge. So we have a few lounges. So you could have, I think they just limit it. The main Warrior Lounge, you could have up to 25 people in. The regular lounges are 8. And then our town hall, like I said, we have one in 30 minutes. You could have 100, 400. We could have as many as you want in there. So it's a town hall. So you're on top, speakers you could see, and then the audience are just their icons. So depending on like the environment we have, there's multiple ways that you could utilize it.
Connecting the dots here to the military transition process, I imagine you're training an AI chatbot on the mental health side of things, so a lot of the common struggles people face. And then you also have a lot of data that you're compiling from having the conversations within Discord and other places about the resume writing, other transition typical topics. Is there a combination there where this becomes a one-stop shop AI agent that walks you through the transition process out of the military?
Yep. So what we're working on is for Ilana to be able to take actions on your behalf. So I want to get us into TAPS. So the Army, the Army Transition Assistance Program, or whatever branch you're in. So ideally, as soon as you enter TAP, you would be given Ilana, and she would be your personal advocate to walk you through the process. Ilana is trained on the entire transition process, and then Ilana will be your advocate as you get to be a civilian, and you get into the world. And so writing a check, filling out a resume, so Ilana, phase 2, this is not the initial phase, but phase 2 of Ilana, she'll be able to take actions on your behalf. She'll learn your resume. You'll give her all your information. She'll be able to write a resume. She'll be able to fill out your LinkedIn profile. She'll be able to help you look for jobs. And then most importantly, navigate the VA. The VA, as you're transitioning out, is a maze, and it's impossible to, unless you have somebody holding your hand. There's 200 different departments. So how do you figure out which department it is? So we're going to be mapping the VA and be able to take you to the position to where I need a home loan. What do I do? I need a student loan. What do I do? I just got, I need therapy. I need rec therapy. I need physical therapy. So Ilana will be that advocate to get you through the maze of the VA.
If they need a home loan, you can just give Ilana Jack's number. That would work.
Yeah.
Don't teach Ilana about any of the mandatory training that the Army or other branches require either. Hopefully she just blocks that out of any of her
pushes, just pushes all that aside and takes you directly in. Well, those are, I was talking about it with a general that's on our advisory board, and he's like, you go in the classrooms and you just sit there, and then you walk out, you learn nothing.
Box checked.
The thing that Ilana can do is actually teach you stuff, not just go into these classrooms because you have to, because you're mandatory for, the transition assistance program. You have to do these courses, but it goes in one ear, out the other, or you're on your phone and you're doing whatever. And so Ilana could actually teach you and guide you in the right, like, what do you actually need to know?
And it's not personalized. So something AI could absolutely do a phenomenal job is get to know the soldier and get to know what their goals are, take that into the whole system and actually create checklists to accomplish what they want.
Yep.
Not just what the Army thinks should be the transition process, but to support what their goals actually are in line with what the Army's trying to provide or the military is trying to provide. But you might want to become an artist, and maybe writing a resume isn't what you need help with, right? But your model could potentially get good enough to where it's getting to know the individual and it has enough information to where it could provide. In the military, we all love checklists, like just do the next thing, right? And it does, and not to oversimplify it, but if you create a robust checklist, you're going to be successful. And I think that that's something that would be beneficial, specifically if your model could get to know the soldier and take their inputs as well.
Yeah. And we are going, I mean, not part of the whole plan is to get to know the soldier or airman or Marine or whoever it is, and be set goal. We're creating that dashboard and there's goal setting, right? So I want to be an artist. Well, what do I need to do to be an artist? Like I was an infantryman for 15 years or whatever, and I don't know what to do. Like, so what's the process? So I don't need a resume, but I do need to do some internships and I do need to take some art classes or whatever. So yes, that's the goal for Ilana, to be able to help you through that and to understand you, because you've been talking to her for the last 6 months. And so she understands you intimately, probably more than anybody else, because you're telling her things that you wouldn't tell anybody else. And then to help you get on, and then I set these goals. I want to do this in the next 12 months. Okay, you're checking this off. You're checking this off. You've got this credential. You've got this badge. And yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, man. The Army made me learn how to tie my shoes as part of the transition getting out. And I was like, well, joke's on you, Army. I already know how to tie my shoes, even though I still use bunny ears. So I would love a more personalized system.
That was my biggest hurdle during the transition, was the damn shoe tying.
It's difficult. It's not easy.
Get it.
It's definitely not something that you've been doing for the last 10 years. Yeah, no.
Right.
Ever since they invented Velcro zip up Army boots.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's the easiest.
I think they started that in the Air Force then.
Slip-ons. I do slip-ons. Like, what's tying? I don't know what that means.
The Marines definitely patented that one though, Jack. We have to give them credit where it's due. Josh, this is a big pivot here, but I'm curious just because it caught in my mind when you mentioned it, and this is very different than the train of conversation we were just on. But how do you get funding from AWS? Did you have an inside source there? Do they have a venture arm that you can pitch? Like, how does that whole process work?
So that's a great question. So I'm very aggressive on LinkedIn, and so as soon as I realized that Ilana was going to be a for-profit. To build a for-profit, you know what it takes? It takes money. And so I started just reaching out. I kind of just said, here's what I'm doing. I have this foundation. I want to start a for-profit. Obviously, I can't do it without money, so I need money. And so I just started pitching everybody my story and like what we're doing and what's our goal. We want to lower suicide. Like, that's a pretty good goal. And so started just reaching out. I knew AWS and Amazon was like a huge company and they have money. And And so I just started telling them my story, and somebody wrote back and she's like, "Oh, really interesting. I'd like to have a conversation." We had a conversation, and then 20 conversations later, we got funding, and now she's making other introductions. She's actually on our advisory board now, and as our go-to-market strategist. And she's making other intros for me because we want to be on the AWS marketplace. So it's just that I'm very tenacious, and I like to go after things. And so it's just going, drilling people on LinkedIn. I was sending countless messages every day. I would pull up the company and, oh, this person looks at this person. So that's how we did it. Yeah.
Do you have any interesting LinkedIn tactics that someone transitioning out of the military could use to find great employment or connect to great people?
And that's the best way to do it, is to do both, like to find great people and to get employment. I think LinkedIn is a key. And so building a brand on LinkedIn, which I'm still working on, I've got a decent amount of followers on LinkedIn, but I'm very proactively sending messages out. And I this week I've been a little off, but I like to at least send 5 messages a day. That's kind of my goal. And this week I've not done so well the last couple days, but in order, if you're transitioning out and you know what you want to do, find the people that are in your industry and just blow them up. Hey, I've done this. I've just, finished my 4 years or 14 years or whatever. Here's what I did. Look at that company and see what they're looking for. And then as you're reaching out to these people, say, hey, I saw you're hiring for a business development person or a cardiac specialist or whatever it is. And then find the top 10 companies that do that and then blow up their senior execs. And the more you blow them up, the more they're going to either get pissed off or be like, oh, this guy's, resilient. This lady's resilient. And she's proactively aggressive, and they're going to respect that. So you're either going to not have them respond or you're going to have them respond. And I get about a 10 to 20% response ratio when I used to get a 0%. So it's gone up. I had to send out probably a couple hundred before I got like one response. And then I'm like pitching in, and I have ChatGPT 4.0 help me construct the messages, because ChatGPT is really good at that if you kind of feed it some information about you. So that would be the other thing, is that you're transitioning from service, ask ChatGPT to create an outline for you on how to present and you just got to give the more information you give ChatGPT 4.0, the better the product will come out. And so as you're looking for a job, what companies, after ChatGPT has built your resume and done all that stuff, what jobs should I be looking for? Like, what are jobs that I would be good at? So ChatGPT will give you 10 jobs. Or if it gives you one, say, give me 9 more. You could tell ChatGPT exactly what to do. And then each of those 10 jobs, you could put it into the jobs in LinkedIn, search what companies are doing that, and then search the people that work at the companies and then go that way. Or you could just ask ChatGPT, what careers would I be good at? And then just start looking up those. So it would be a combination of ChatGPT and LinkedIn to really leverage that, because ChatGPT is going to help you do it, and then LinkedIn will be the way to do it. And it's just, you got to blow it up. If you do 5 or 10 and stop, it's got to be in the hundreds, like hundreds of messages in the single digits or double digits point. Like, you're wasting your time. You have to commit to doing, like I said, I do 5 a day, and you got to do it for a year or 6 months or however long you're doing it. But it's not going to be a week or a month. It's going to take more than that.
Yeah, with the ChatGPT involvement too, people truly underestimate what that's capable of. And if you don't know how to use it, just start using it. Just start you taking notes in there as you transition. If you just take your transitioning notes in ChatGPT, it will start to learn kind of like what your goals are, what your plans are. And then as you said, I want to add one thing that I've been able to use really effectively is tell ChatGPT to ask you questions to help better inform it. So you can say, hey, I am transitioning from service in 6 months. Ask me 10 questions that I should give you the information to be able to better, answer future questions that I ask you. And then just do your absolute best to robustly answer each of those 10 questions that it asks you. And that's going to really create that platform that it gets to know what your goals are and what your transition, goals are, to where you can then just ask simple questions and it already knows, it references back, hey, how you answered these other questions. It knows what your goals are. and oftentimes it'll surprise you. So I love that you're using that as well, because I think it's a
The most
huge
powerful tool.
multiplier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the caveat is you need to do the paid version. So there's a free version, there's a paid version. The paid version is exponentially, it's like a graduate Harvard student versus a high school student. Like you want the
right.
graduate Harvard student, not the high school student. So you pay the $20 a month. It's worth it. And like you said, like the more you give ChatGPT, the better the output is, and the more questions. It's meant to be a question. So you could have it role play. So if you're applying for the first job you ever applied for out of the military, hey, I'm applying for XYZ job. Take the job description, drop it in the chat. You are the hiring manager. Interview me, and it will interview you, and it'll critique you. So, that'll prep you to interview because you've never interviewed before. So the ChatGPT, and this is what Ilana will do too, but ChatGPT will be your interviewer, and, it'll drill you and till you figure it out. And then you could fail on ChatGPT versus failing in real life. And then you take that and then use that to go on to LinkedIn. So the people that are transitioning out now have more of an advantage than anybody has ever had, because ChatGPT is your cheat vehicle. So if you want to cheat, you use ChatGPT.
And LinkedIn, now, at least as of now, allows 1 free year of premium usage for service members. So if you don't have the LinkedIn Premium or whatever LinkedIn version, paid version that requires the in-mail like direct messages, then you can get a free year of that being a service member. So you save money on the LinkedIn that you might be paying for ChatGPT.
And it's only $20 a month ChatGPT too. So it's not like it's $100 a month or anything like that. It's only
Yeah,
20.
I tell people, hey,
LinkedIn,
you're already paying $60 to $80 a month for the phone.
yep.
The $20 a month. What I use ChatGPT for now, I'm not sure I need anything else on my phone. I use it for absolutely everything. So the $20 to me is like I'd probably pay. I don't know what I'd pay, but the $20 a month is a phenomenal deal right now. I don't know what it's going to be in the future, but
He
pretty
just
great.
calls it Jack GPT.
Yeah, I mean,
ChatGPT.
I've just transitioned. Everything you're saying is exactly how I've used it. We started businesses with just mainly using ChatGPT and AI to be able to create the copy for it, to actually like figure out pricing strategies, to figure out, hey, what's the ideal customer? How can I communicate this product with people? So it's not just interviewing. It's like you can literally role play anything. You can say, hey, I've got this problem with my kid. How can I address it with my kid? And they can give you ideas with how to communicate with a 6-year-old versus a 12-year-old. It's unbelievable. You just got to learn how to use it. And I joke with people that, you know, think about your grandmother, back in the day when she learned about Google. It's like she didn't know how to Google, right? She would like type in, and she wouldn't get the responses but we knew how to Google because it was just, that you
Yeah,
have to put the same sort of effort into learning ChatGPT, or else you're just a grandmother trying to Google something and it's not going to give you the right answers. But if you spend the time to really hone your craft with ChatGPT, it's going to start really providing a lot of value.
it's investing in yourself. You want to get ahead, you got to invest in yourself. It's very simple. And like I said, ChatGPT is cheap. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, nobody had that. So you're transitioning out, you're left in this wild world. Now
Right.
we use it to help write our business plan, and like asking me questions. Like when I go to an investor, like ask me questions. If you're an investor, like what should I be prepared for? Like,
Yeah.
it's ChatGPT and the data that it gives you and the research, it's unbelievable. Like,
Saves
you're
time.
not
Right.
using it and you're transitioning out, you're cheating yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, there's a 2-part question we ask every guest on each show, and as we kind of wrap up here, we'll start with one ask. What's one thing that people listening to this could do to provide value or help you? I know you made the ask earlier, so feel free to reiterate that or add something to it. But whether it's signing up for the Discord or whatever would be a way that people can help you. You can highlight that here.
Yeah, join our community. We need more people in our community. Like I said, we want to serve 100,000. We're at 2,600 now, so we got a long ways to go. So join our Discord, and then, like I said, if you're interested in donating or being a volunteer with the community, just let us know. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Discord, and we'd love to have you and be a part of our community.
Yeah, practice your message writing to Josh on LinkedIn. Let's
Yes,
get
yeah,
Josh
yeah.
1,000 messages. Just flood his inbox.
Just blow me up. Yep.
Blow him up. Let's practice. And then the second part of that, Josh, is one give. What's one piece of advice, thing that you could offer to folks listening to this?
I mean, I think I just gave it, is utilize ChatGPT for like, that's
Yeah.
the biggest token of value that I think I could give. Like, obviously I could give our community and all that kind of stuff, but from a cheat code, utilize ChatGPT, like whatever you're doing, utilize ChatGPT. Even if you're already transitioned out 10 years ago and you're just figuring something, you want to make a career change, what kind of career should I get into? Like, I love these things. Utilize ChatGPT and spend the $20 a month to get the premium, because it will change your life.
We're not sponsored by ChatGPT, but Sam Altman, if you're listening to this, we're open to it. So
Us too.
yeah, I won't say no.
He's going to have 3 or 4 new signups just from this.
But hey, thanks guys.
Yeah, where's our
Really gonna-
affiliate link?
Yeah.
Really going to push him over the edge.
We have 400 million, but this every number counts. So I want to just thank you guys for your
Great.
addition.
The Veteran Ventures podcast made a massive dent in ChatGPT's
Yeah.
revenue.
We're going to
Well,
crash the servers.
Yeah, Josh, this has been awesome, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to have this conversation. Thank you for what you're doing for the military community and for veterans. I think it's going to have a huge impact, and I'm sure it already has. So I just really appreciate the work that you're doing there. I guess one last piece of advice or one last thought you might have for someone that's transitioning out of the military now or considering a transition.
You're not alone. It's always scary on the other side, especially if you've been in it long. So you've got a place to go. You've got a community to be a part of. Just know that it's scary, right? It's the unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. And so if we could help shed some light on that, let us be a part of that transition process and utilize us and our community and our people. All of our people have been through it. And so utilize us, take advantage of us, and know that you're not alone and that you've got support.
Awesome. Well said. Thanks, Josh. It's been great, man.
No, I appreciate it. This is great. I really appreciate you guys having me on and letting me share my story. And, it's been a lot of fun. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope your town hall goes well. I know you're heading to that here imminently.
Thank you. Yep, just a few minutes, but no, this has been great. It's been back to back to back, but you know what? It's all
Great.
great stuff, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Keep building that brand. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Veteran Ventures podcast. If you heard something interesting or found the show to be helpful, send it to a friend who is transitioning out of the military or considering a transition. We'd also really appreciate if you left a rating and review of the show. That helps us reach more people with these amazing stories of successful veterans. We'll catch you next time on the Veteran Ventures podcast. And until then, go do the thing. Make that decision, have that conversation, and go find your next mission.